Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and I talk all things travel. Today we're going to take a look at the BagSmart Getaway 20-inch front opening roller carry-on. I've had mine now for about 2 months. Full disclosure, BagSmart did send me this. However, this review is entirely my own. I'm going to tell you everything I loved and a couple things I wish would have been done a little bit differently. So let's get started. All right, so let's start with a little overview of the bag. First things first, this is the blue steel color, which I really love. It also comes in a shadow, which is kind of like a grayish color, as well as a beige. So now that we talked about the color and the shell, let's talk about the measurements. This bag, when it's compressed, measures about 21.26 inches tall, 13.78 inches wide, and 9.45 inches deep. And when it expands, it gives you about 20% more space, going up to 48 liters. So it weighs in at about 8.27 pounds, which is going to be about 3.75 kilograms. So it is a bit on the heavier side, but you do get a ton of features packed in. Okay, so let's talk about the outside of this bag. This is a polycarbonate hard shell. It's basically built to resist dings and dents, and so far I think it's done a really good job. I've only taken this on 2 trips so far. Both of those, it's been used as a carry-on. Just from using it as a carry-on, you can see there's a couple scuff marks, but nothing too major. It's held up really beautifully, so we love that. Also, while we're spinning it around, let's talk about the beautiful 360-degree spinner wheels. They're built with shock-absorbent housing, which basically means that it gives you smooth glides wherever you go. And overall, it's been super easy to navigate around. I haven't had a chance to use it on cobblestone or anything yet, but I did use it in the city and the wheels held up very nicely there. So another thing to mention is the aluminum pull bar, and it glides really nicely. Stores really well. Overall, no complaints there. It's fairly comfortable to wheel around, though I do wish there was a bit more padding under here. This looks like it could be like a bit rubbery, especially in photos, but it is basically the same material as the luggage. So after a while, especially if you're dragging this over city blocks, it does hurt your hand a bit. Also, while we're doing a little tour of the outside, you can see there's a nice grab handle here on the side. There's another one up on top. And also up on top, you're going to notice this red ribbon. It was sent with the bag. Just a good way to spot your bag quickly if you do have to check it. As here or there, now or never, which is BagSmart's slogan. And up on top, you're also going to see the TSA locks. So we love a bag with a lock. This one's super easy to set. They come right out. No major issues. Overall, the bag is fairly easy to unzip. The zippers are fairly smooth going down. However, I will note that when you are trying to zip this back up, I've noticed that on the top corners especially, the zipper can be a little tough to like really pull up. That's not like a huge issue, but just something to be aware of. So let's continue our little tour. We're gonna jump into the bag now. You can see it's really nice. If you do need to access something in the bag while you're on the road, you can just unzip it. And these little clips right here just kind of keep it upright so it's not flopping over. Or if you do need to just fully get into the bag a bit more, you can unhook them and it just comes down like that. Huge fan of the functionality with that. I think that's really nice. Okay, so jumping inside of the bag, you can see there's a removable padded section here. So we're going to unzip that in just a second and look at the rest of the bag. But first, let's just run down here. So this is a 5mm padded section. So basically what I like to do is I'll put my Kindle in this compartment here. I like that it zips. So that just keeps that in place no matter what. And then I'll put my computer in this middle compartment or the top compartment, depending on how I'm packing. And for some reason, BagSmart hasn't specified on their website how big this laptop sleeve is. So just to give you kind of an idea, this is my laptop. It's a 12-inch. Just stick it in here and we'll let you see what it looks like. So you can see it goes basically all the way down in this pocket. And then this top pocket up here, it's basically coming up to about here. So you could really fit in a good size laptop because obviously the sleeve here gives you some flexibility. And again, mine is a 12-inch. And you can see on this back sleeve, it's not even coming close to the top. Next, we've got what I think is one of the most thoughtful features. And it's this little air tag bit right here. So if you carry an air tag like I do, I always put it somewhere and then, it ends up in a pocket. I forget it, I can't find it. This is just really thoughtful. It makes it nice and easy to know where the air tag is. Let's jump over to the other side of the bag. Okay, next up, we've got this side of the front opening pocket, and you can see there's a nice netted section here, like lip gloss, passport, things like that. I'll just stick in this top pocket. And then there's also a water-resistant pocket down here. So if I'm traveling with lotion, things like that, I'll stick them there. And then the other cool thing about this part of the suitcase is that it actually unzips, and there's another little hidden section behind these pockets. So what I've learned that I like to do with this is I'll stick in like my scarf and gloves, or maybe like an extra sweater depending on where I'm headed. Okay, so jumping to the back of the bag, you can see this little divider right here where your laptop goes also kind of acts as a compression pad. So the one thing I have noticed with this that I do find a bit irritating is that when I'm fully packing this part here, because it works as a compression pad, ends up basically, because I'm an overpacker, puckering out and kind of putting pressure against my laptop in this pocket. For that reason, I tend not to put my laptop in here, and I'll put it in like my personal item just because it makes me nervous that that pressure might hurt the device. So if you're an overpacker, just something to know. Jumping back into this section, you can see that just folds down nicely, and then inside there's actually quite a bit of space. The things BagSmart I think is done really nicely is that the trolley pass-through that you normally have to pack around is actually quite thin. You can kind of see. It doesn't take up a ton of space, which is really nice because there are some bags where it just feels like it takes up like the whole half side of the suitcase. And then up here at the top, they have thoughtfully included a little pouch. So I use this for toiletries, and then it's just really handy. You can just pop it right back up there on top. But I think it's a nice little addition that they've added. And then you can see we've got the compression straps inside. So pretty standard. We'll go ahead and pack the bag. As you can see, there's tons of space. So I'm gonna fit in a giant packing cube and two smaller ones. Toiletries, a beach blanket, and 2 pairs of shoes. We'll just use the compression straps to lock everything in. And then let me just zip this up and we'll take a look at what this looks like expanded. Okay, so to open the expansion section, you just want to look on this part of the bag and you're going to see this other zipper. So we're just going to open it. Oh, good. See what I mean? It gets stuck on the corners, so don't love that, which means I just kind of need to stand up. There we go. You just really have to jerk it over the corner the way it's built. Second one, no problem, easy peasy right over. So I'm really hoping with this bag that the more I use it, the more flexible the zipper is going to become. It's not just the zipper, it's all of the zippers I'm noticing around like where it curves. They're just a little hard to pull right now. Really hoping with some time and some use, they're going to soften up a bit. So stay tuned. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on how that's going. And I love this extension feature because it adds a good 2 inches of space, which if you're a shopper like me, comes in really handy. So is the BagSmart Getaway 20-inch front opening roller suitcase worth the price tag? Honestly, I think it's a great budget option. Overall, I have been so impressed with it. I think the build is really, really lovely, especially at this price point. It's held up really nicely over my first 2 trips. Again, the only things I do kind of complain about a bit are the fact the zipper's a little hard to negotiate around here, but I do think that will soften up with use. And then the fact that the compression pad / laptop sleeve in the center can possibly bow out when it's overpacked. The only 2 issues I really have with this bag. Otherwise, I think it's an amazing option. I really love that this front opening section just is so handy, especially on the go. It's been honestly a game changer, especially as someone who travels from Florida to Pennsylvania and New York quite often. This front pocket has been so good for putting all of my winter stuff. And I also really love the fact that this is expandable. As someone who overpacks and likes to shop, this was a game changer in New York. Overall, I would say I recommend it. I think it's a great bag and I don't think you can go wrong. So if you are looking to purchase, I do have an affiliate link in the description box below along with a code. If you want to use it, please feel free. It helps me out. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and I'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to hear more about this bag, feel free to leave any questions in the comment box below, or head to my website, Ali Travels. I have a full written review about this bag as well if you want to read more about it. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.